Hello, my name is Timothy V. I am working with Tom in creating these short instructional and awareness videos to help bridge the gap between the business and the need for cybersecurity in the legal vertical industry. Tom has been working in the information technology legal industry for over 28 years. The last 11 years have been dedicated to security in law firms. Tom is a certified information systems security professional. He has been involved in many real-world cybersecurity attacks. With Tom's knowledge of cybersecurity, experience with law firms, along with my gift to Gab, we believe we put together a great list of steps to take to increase your security posture. Let's make it a bit more difficult for the hacker. Because of time constraints, this presentation is broken into two parts. Okay, so let's get started with part 1. In today's world and with the ever-increasing complex threats, there must be a way to stop these attacks and identify the process in which an attack occurred. Believe it or not, this information and processes are built into your Windows servers, domain controllers, and desktops. They only need to be configured and turned on. An understanding of these settings is essential in order to understand what you get as a result of implementing these policies. Many times during an investigation, we come across a situation where a client thought they had something implemented when in fact it wasn't. Sometimes it's as simple as a miscommunications. Having an understanding of the results in implementing these policies will help with the miscommunication. This video is meant to help increase your understanding of your security posture. As always, it is best to work with a cybersecurity professional. In recent history, we have been involved in multiple ransomware attacks. One of the most important pieces of information and what everyone asks is, how did this happen? In an incident response plan, the objective is to identify how the incident occurred. This way you can put countermeasures in place to help mitigate the risk so that it doesn't happen again. This presentation will outline the most essential and minimal security group policies that should be implemented on Windows domain controllers, member servers, and desktops. These settings are based on recent experiences with advanced cyber threats in multiple industries. Let's talk about limitations. By no means does this presentation outline all the security measures that should be taken. It is meant to be a tool to help understand what will help prevent an attack, along with identifying how the attack occurred if it was successful. Almost all of these policies that will be described are using Windows domain group policy objects. When working with GPOs, it is best to work with a professional that has done this before. Making a mistake with a GPO can do more harm than good. This presentation was put together in what we have seen in the real world. Okay, so let's get into it. During this part of the presentation, I will show the topic, then describe the vulnerability, then show the potential impact, and finally the suggested setting. Number 1, Event Log Retention. The event logs retention should be applied to the application, system, and security logs on Windows servers and desktops. Vulnerability. Information regarding a cybersecurity event are potentially in your event logs. They need to be protected. Potential impact. If this information is lost due to a misconfiguration, the ability to understand how an attack occurred is diminished. Suggested settings. Overwrite events as needed. This setting should also include increasing the log size to the maximum, which happens to be the next topic. Next, number 2, set the log size to the maximum. Vulnerability. If a log size is set too small, information that is needed to identify potential hacks will be overwritten. Potential impact. Ability to understand how an attack occurred is diminished. Loss of valuable information cannot be recovered. Suggested settings. We suggest to set your log sizes to the maximum. Depending on the log and the activity on the device, changing this setting could potentially keep logged events for days or weeks. Here is a real-world experience. We have seen time and time again where the security log on a server is set to the default. Upon investigating a hack that was only hours old, the security events were already overwritten. Okay, number 3, enabling audit process creation. This setting will enable your device to capture every process that runs. The security event ID is 4688. Vulnerability: if this policy is not enabled, malware and potential harmful processes that will damage your systems will not show up in the logs. Potential impact: not having this information means you are blind to the events occurring. Suggested settings: enable this setting on all your Windows devices. Number 4, command line process. This setting allows you to see any variables or values passed to a process. This setting can only be enabled once the audit process creation is enabled. Vulnerability: information that is essential to an event occurring will not be captured. Potential impact: not having this information can delay an investigation and potentially never understand exactly what the process did. Suggested settings: enable this setting on all your Windows devices. Here is a real-world experience. The WannaCry ransomware ran a process called wscript.exe, that called wannacry.bbs. wannacry.bbs would show up in the 4688 security event when the command line process is enabled. A simple search in the event log would have picked this up when it occurred prior to the ransom being enabled. Number 5, a user attempted to install a service, security event ID 601. Vulnerability: one way an attacker ensures that their malware stays intact is with a Windows service. Potential impact: if you don't know that a malware installed a service, you will spend an enormous amount of time cleaning a malware only to see it show up again. Suggested setting: enable this group policy. Okay, this concludes part 1 in the series on minimum security settings for law firms. I am completely out of time. I hope you found this video informative and I hope to see you next time.